Here is the English translation of the document. Title: Flirting with my besties aloof brother. I completely lost myself in his arms. My best friend, Lin Jingjing, called me in the early hours of the morning. Her voice was weak and choked with tears as she told me she'd been in a minor bicycle accident late at night. She'd already been taken to a community hospital for a check-up, thankfully. It was just some scrapes and bruises, nothing serious, but all her clothes were ruined. She couldn't leave and had no one reliable nearby. So she begged me to rush to her house, grab some pajamas, lingerie, and toiletries, and bring them to her. Without hesitation, I grabbed a jacket and took a taxi straight to Lin Jingjing's neighborhood. We've been inseparable since childhood, so I know her code by heart. I pushed open the front door and entered. The house was quiet, with only a small warm-own nightlight in the entryway casting dim light. Assuming no one was home, I headed straight for the guest bedroom, planning to grab the clothes and dash to the hospital without wasting a single minute. But the moment I stepped into the living room, a dark figure lunged at me from behind the sofa. A fierce, skillful chokehold locked around my neck. The pressure was controlled, enough to immobilize but not harm yet. It completely cut off my breath, leaving my back rigid with tension. I was instantly furious, ready to unleash a torrent of curses. But when I struggled to turn my head and saw who it was, all the harsh words stuck in my throat, swallowed back down. There were two reasons I backed down immediately. First, the man was devastatingly handsome. His features were sharp and coldly defined. His eyes deep and clear, his nose high-bridged, and his thin lips set in a line that screamed "keep out." His entire presence radiated an aloof, abstinence-only vibe, and his looks hit every single one of my aesthetic sweet spots. Second, he was only wearing a pair of loose black sweatpants. His upper body was completely bare. Under the cool, pale skin, his abs were perfectly sculpted, defined, tight, and powerful. The classic V- shape of broad shoulders tapering to a narrow waist was on full display. He exuded raw masculinity, cold yet strangely seductive. Even his messy black hair added to the untamed, forbidden look. Every detail struck directly at my heart. My cheeks flushed crimson, and I instinctively tried to look away, but my eyes betrayed me glued to his body. My heart pounded wildly, completely out of rhythm. Meanwhile, the man remained utterly composed, showing no signs of panic. Once he realized I was female, he loosened his grip and maintained his cold, steady expression. He walked unhurriedly to the coat closet, grabbed a clean shirt, jacket, and pants, and dressed with practiced ease, every movement smooth and pleasing to watch. Only after he was fully dressed did he look at me, his voice low, magnetic, and chillingly calm. "Did you come to get clothes for Jingjing? What happened to her?" I finally stabilized my breathing, suppressing the fluttering in my chest, and answered honestly, "She was in a car accident. She's at the hospital and can't come back, so she asked me to bring her some changes of clothes." Hearing this, he frowned slightly, but showed none of the panic I expected. His tone remained flat, even tinged with certainty. "She didn't call me directly, so it's not serious, and chances are it was her fault." I was stunned. He'd guessed exactly right. The doctor had just finished checking her and said it was just a simple collision, minor external injuries, and indeed, my best friend had run a red light and changed lanes illegally. I couldn't help but glance at him, thinking to myself that their sibling bond seemed incredibly thin. He asked another casual question. "How did you get here?" "A taxi," I replied, my eyes still sneaking peeks at him. "Perfect. He'll give you a ride back to the hospital and drop by to see her." His tone was light and natural. I thought to myself, drop by? Those two words sounded way too perfunctory. His own sister was in the hospital, and he treated it like a casual pit stop. The lack of familial warmth was honestly bizarre. True to his word, his drop by was exactly that. We arrived at the hospital room, and he pushed the door open. Standing by the bed, he glanced down at my best friend, confirmed she wasn't severely injured, and in less than 10 seconds, turned to leave without another word of concern. My best friend instantly blew up, lying in bed both angry and aggrieved, her eyes turning red as she shouted at his retreating back Zhuangzi Chibi. You bastard. I'm in the hospital after a car accident, and that's your attitude? And calling mom and dad right now to tattle that you bullied me again. That you're a cold-blooded jerk who doesn't care about me. I automatically tuned out the angry threats, hatching only 3 clear words: Zhuangzi Chibi. So, his name was Zhuangzi Chibi. I immediately perked up, rushing to the bedside and whispering urgently, Jing Jing, your brother is named Zhuangzi Chibi. How do you write that? Tell me quickly. My best friend was still a bit dazed and didn't think much of it, blurting out the spelling, his work schedule, personality, and preferences. It was only afterward that she reacted, eyeing me suspiciously. Wait, why are you asking about my brother? Something's off? Don't tell me you've got a thing for my brother, trying to poach my own brother as a boyfriend? I didn't hide it at all, nodding generously. My eyes sparkling. Yeah, your brother is so handsome, has an amazing body, and such a killer aura. Plus, he was driving a top-tier G-wagon with one hand earlier, so steady and charismatic. How could I not be interested? Of course I'm into him. Honestly, on the way to the hospital, I'd already decided to make a move, but Zhuangzi Chibi, I had been on work calls or replying to business messages the entire ride, looking busy and aloof. I hadn't found a single opening to chat him up. He leaned in closer, testing the waters. By the way, does your brother have a girlfriend? Any ambiguous entanglements? My best friend waved her hand, looking helpless as she poured cold water on my hopes. Not a single girlfriend, Zaro, ambiguous objects. But I advise you to give up now. Save your energy. My brother is 1,000-year sold iron tree, the concrete reinforced steel kind. He's naturally cold-hearted, won't bloom, and doesn't understand romance. HES completely unshakable. I refuse to accept defeat, raising an eyebrow with a confident smile. How will we know unless we try? Maybe my luck is just good enough to make that iron tree bloom for me. My best friend immediately made a bet with me, her tone firm. Fine. If you can actually flirt with my brother and make him fall for you first, you'll perform a handstand while washing my hair. Live mine is streamed. I mean it. The stakes were high, and I felt a flicker of panic. If I failed, I'd be teased by my best friend for the next 3 years, forced to apologize on my knees daily. But the words were already out, so I had to tough it out and accept the bet. I launched my official flirting campaign, but I kept hitting walls. The first time I asked him out for dinner, my tone gentle and polite. He simply replied, working overtime all weekend. No time, direct rejection. The second time, I picked a luxury restaurant and scheduled it 2 days in advance. He declined again, meeting important clients at night, tied up with business. Still rejected. No room for negotiation. The third time, I tried inviting him to a midnight romance movie, thinking the atmosphere would be perfect for intimacy. My best friend stopped me cold. Don't waste your effort. Useless. Last time our whole family went to see a holiday blockbuster. He slept through the entire thing. Thunder wouldn't wake him. HES immune to romantic vibes. I slumped, depressed. Forget it. Either HES a natural iron tree who doesn't understand love, or he just has zero interest in me. A normal guy after 3 proactive advances from a girl would have picked up on the signals and responded. But he remained completely unmoved. My best friend shook her head, analyzing seriously. Not necessarily. My brother is cold, but HES straightforward. If he had zero interest, HED reject me outright without leaving any leeway. He doesn't refuse directly, which means you still have a chance. I asked doubtfully, is it just because of your face that he doesn't want to reject me directly? She immediately scoffed, please. HES never given me face. He only cares about work and principles. What I say means nothing to him. I instantly regained my confidence, my eyes determined. Then I'll try one last time. Time to bring out the big guns. My best friend gave me some solid advice. If he says he's working overtime, say, after work, let me treat you to late minus night snacks to recharge. If he says he has clients, ask gently, after the client meeting, want to come see me to relax? Skip the movie, it's a waste of money. I found it funny inside. I knew all these tricks. I was the one who originally taught my best friend how to flirt and gauge boundaries. But since Zhuang Zhiba, I was her real brother. A genuine acquaintance had been holding back, afraid that if I went too far and failed, the resulting awkwardness would be unbearable. Now that my best friend was actively encouraging me, I had no reservations left. It was time to unleash the full arsenal of flirting techniques. For the fourth invitation, I precisely targeted his preferences. Skipping dinner and movies, I invited him to a private hot spring resort in the suburbs, quiet, intimate, perfect for relaxing after overtime. When the call connected, my tone was natural and relaxed. Mr. Zhuang, busy with work this weekend? Want to soak in the hot springs to unwind? He was silent for 2 seconds before speaking in that low voice. How many people? I took a gamble and answered frankly, just you and me. A private date. There was a beat of silence on the line. The atmosphere subtle. My palms were sweating, and I already had several backup scripts ready to handle his rejection. Unexpectedly, the next second, he agreed succinctly with a single word. Ugh. I was ecstatic, feeling half the battle was won. It dropped such obvious signals for a private hot spring date. Any adult could understand my intention. I was actively flirting with him, but once we were in the spring pool, I realized it underestimated Zhuang Zhiba. He deliberately kept a distance of over a meter from me, so far that I couldn't touch him even if I reached out. Moreover, he spent the entire time on work calls and replying to business messages, every sentence about commerce. Not a hint of small talk. The atmosphere was cold and distant. Refusing to give up, I quietly shifted my body closer underwater. Using the cover of the warm water, I extended my toes and gently brushed against his calf, testing his reaction. Zhuang Zhiba. I lifted his eyes and glanced at me. His gaze calm and unruffled, showing neither surprise nor annoyance. His composure didn't crack in the slightest. My heart tightened. Something felt off. This guy's level of flirting was definitely higher than mine. But with no turning back, I had to double down. My courage grew, and my toes slowly crept upward along his solid calf, past his knee, probing step by step. The next second, Zhuang Zhiba leaned forward slightly, his long arm shooting out to accurately clamp my leg behind the knee. His grip was steady and unbreakable. With a gentle pull, ripples spread across the hot spring water. My center of gravity lost, I plunged forward, crashing straight into his broad, warm chest. Warm breath brushed against my ear as he lowered his voice, a hint of restrained gravel in his tone, warning me, don't touch randomly. I raised an eyebrow inwardly, playing hard to get. His words were rejecting me, but his actions were honest. I simply stopped pretending, actively throwing my arms around his neck, tilting my head up to close the distance, and kissing him. The moment our lips met, I was completely lost. I became certain that Zhuang Zhiba's flirting skills absolutely crushed mine. His kissing technique was gentle yet restrained, with perfect pacing dominant within the tenderness, seductive and mesmerizing. I sank completely into the kiss, my body softening, wanting only to get closer. Just as the atmosphere peaked and emotions ran high, my phone rang shrilly, shattering the intimate haze. I frowned, cursing inwardly. Whoever was calling had the worst timing imaginable, destroying the mood. I ignored it, burying my head to continue the kiss. But Zhuang Zhiba, I remained rational. He raised a hand to steady my shoulder, pushing me back slightly, his eyes indicating my ringing phone. His tone was calm. You have a call. I waved it off dismissively, not answering. Not important. He glanced at the caller ID, his tone turning serious. It's your mom. Don't delay important matters. I snapped back to reality, grabbing the phone and answering, my voice laced with irritation at the interruption. Mom? What's up? Is it urgent? On the other end, my mom's voice was frantic and anxious, saying, get home right now. Your dad had an accident, is in the hospital. It's critical. My head buzzed, going blank. My heart raced, and my limbs turned cold. What happened? Dad was fine. How did he suddenly end up in the hospital? A thief broke in, and Dad fell off the balcony trying to catch him. HES already been sent to the emergency room. My mom was shaking so hard her voice trembled. My mind went completely chaotic. Distraught, I almost dropped the phone into the spring. Fortunately, Shuangzih IBA, I reacted quickly, steadying the phone just in time. He wrapped an arm around my waist, supporting my weakened body. His voice steady and reliable, instantly calming my panic. Don't panic. Don't think wildly. I'll take you to the hospital right now. He'll be with you the whole time. I nodded in a daze, half guided by him toward the changing room. My strength was drained, my steps floating, relying entirely on his support. Inside the couple's changing room, my fingers trembled uncontrollably. My heart was in chaos, and I couldn't fasten the simplest bra clasp. The more anxious I got, the more flustered I became. Earlier, to make flirting easier, it specifically booked a private couple's changing room within partition was the only thing separating us, and he was changing right next door. Shuangzih IBA, I probably heard my struggling, chaotic movements through the partition and guessed my predicament. After changing into clean clothes, he gently knocked on the partition. His tone flat and restrained. Can you manage on your own? Say something if you need help. I was both panicked and ashamed. Honestly, I couldn't get dressed alone. But then it occurred to me there was no way he would actually come in and help me, right? That would be mortifying. The next second, the sliding door to the changing room was gently pulled open. Shuangzih IBA, I walked in, his expression composed and utterly unruffled. Even though I was dressed and in a state of disarray, he showed no sign of awkwardness. However, his gaze darkened considerably, taking on a highly aggressive, scorching heat as he slowly raked his eyes over me from head to toe. I froze in place, stiff as a statue, unable to move. My cheeks burned, and my heartbeat spiraled out of control. I had completely, utterly lost myself in his deep, seductive stare.